There you go.
Okay, we're on.
All right, call to order by the board secretary, Mr. Mikowitz. Please stand for the salute of the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Open Public Meetings Act. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Augusta, Branchville, Lafayette, and Sussex post offices, and notice sent to the New Jersey Herald, the Star Ledger, and clerk of the boroughs of Branchville, Sussex, and townships of Frankfurt, Lafayette, and Wantage. Mission statement. High Point Regional High School, in partnership with staff, family, and community, is dedicated to the quest for individual excellence. By fostering high standards of achievement, we prepare students to become responsible and productive members of a diverse society. I will read the final election results, which I also announced at last month's meeting. Thomas Ancliffe, William Kehoe, Kyle Veely, and Christine Keller. I will now administer the oath of office to Mr. Ancliffe, Mr. Kehoe, and Mr. Veely. If you would all please stand and read the oaths together, starting with I. State your name.
I, Thomas Ancliffe,
Do solemnly swear
that I
I will support the
Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, William F. Kehoe, do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my abilities, so help me God.
Thank you, congratulations.
Congratulations.
I will now open the floor for nominations for president. The nominations do not have to be seconded. Anyone that nominates someone for the president, I will just notate that. Do I have a nomination from anyone for president?
I nominate Kyle Veely.
Second.
Mrs. Anderson nominates Mr. Veely. Do we have any other nominations for president? If not, I will close the nominations. I will go around the room and ask for a yes or no vote on Mr. Veely. Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Ancliffe.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Rowland.
Yes.
Mr. Veely.
Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Veely is now the
Thank you, Paul.
Now sit over here.
You can sit there.
Nope, you sit over there.
Following
mystical
protocols
energies
that we've established for years, we will continue to abide by them.
Alright. Alright, I'm on the bottom. Okay, I will now take nominations for vice president. I will nominate Debbie Anderson. Are there any other nominations? Alright, seeing none, your roll call.
Mr. Ancliffe.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Rowland.
Yes.
Mr. Veely.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
everybody. Yeah, the
That's-
hall.
Alright.
Are you moving
So
chairs?
now that we're all here, we have roll call again?
Yes,
All right.
Mrs. Anderson,
Present.
Mr. Ancliffe,
Present.
Mr. Dunn.
Here.
Mrs. Keller is absent. Mr. Kehoe.
Present.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Rowland.
Here.
Mr. Veely.
Here.
Mr. Voiq is absent. Dr. Ripley.
Here.
Thank you.
Alright, a motion will be made that High Point Regional High School Board of Education enter executive session to provide an update on legal items, personnel, and negotiations, which are exempt from public participation pursuant to New Jersey Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, Open Public Meetings Act. Any discussions held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public when appropriate. Minutes of the executive session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene a public session in the cafeteria annex at the conclusion of the executive session. No action will be taken. Correct?
None.
Alright, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Alright. Alright, need a motion to return to public session.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, alright. Public comments on agenda items only. If you have a comment, step to the podium, state your name and address. According to the Open Public Meeting Act, we'll open public comments for agenda items only. At this time, Mr. Chair, state your name, his or her name and address. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board, which time, we'll limit this section a little over 45 minutes. Be respectful, mindful that you're being recorded. Any public comments on agenda items? Mr. D'Agostino, no?
Representing that 45 minutes?
You got 45.
You know,
But you have to take them in 3
You
minutes.
got
3 minute, 3 minute blocks.
You know, I've talked that one.
Alright, seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. We'll just combine this entire section. We will discuss it, I guess, as we go through, or do you want to, we have to, or, no, we have to have discussion.
Why don't you move items 1 through 9?
Is that a good place to
Yeah,
stop?
yeah.
Alright, so let's combine items 1 through 9. And, let me read these off here. Number 1, we recommended that the board appoint, you good? No, Jim Minkwitz as the Secretary of the Board of Education effective January 1, 2017 through December 31st, 2017. Number 2, recommended that the board appoint Michelle Esparza as the Treasurer of School Monies effective for January 1, 2017 through December 31, 2017. Recommended that the board appoint Donald Lembo as the Affirmative Action Officer, 504 Committee Coordinator, Homeless Liaison, and Issuing Officer for Working Papers effective January 1, 2017 through December 31st, 2017. Recommended that the board appoint Kate Romeo as the SAC effective January 1, 2017 through December 31st, 2017. It was recommended that the board appoint,
That's the way into
this
the
is what we did,
nominations.
so,
1 through 4, I looked at.
So you want
yeah,
to
let's stop at 4.
Okay.
Alright, seeking a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on 1 through 4? Alright, roll call.
Mr. Rowland.
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Ancliffe.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Veely.
Yes. Okay, now, we're not gonna break any rules, we just have to give it a time, because I need to know who wants to do this stuff. So,
I think we can talk about them.
we can discuss it? Okay. Does anyone want to be the delegate for the New Jersey School Boards Association? That's the state.
Yeah, can you give the responsibilities or requirements or involvement that's needed for that?
Yeah, you're gonna have to give the lowdown on that, Jim.
New Jersey School Boards,
Is that Trenton, is that Mountain Lakes, is that?
that is New Jersey School Boards, and I'm not sure there's a, a heck of a lot you have to do. You would be the point person to try and get any members that need training, or that you would want training. the board
I did it
wants-
last year, so
Right,
that's.
so it's.
Did you have to do
You
anything?
have to do.
No.
No.
I got a couple of emails, that was about it.
That was it.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I'll do that one again then. So number 6 would be the alternate. Do you, Todd, or, Wayne, do you want to do the alternate? I mean,
Sure, sounds like the alternates.
Has less work to
that's-
do
it's-
than
you don't
the,
get anything else, yeah.
I think Sussex County is more active, you get more emails.
Yes. And Wayne, you want to be the Sussex County?
Yeah, I had actually attended a couple meetings
Okay.
last year.
So that's 7. So now 8, do we have an alternate? Yeah, who, does anybody want to be the alternate delegate to the school Sussex County?
Who the alternate would be.
All right. And now, this is the one that we're having.
this is a problem.
Then why don't you take this one?
I'll take it. I am no longer interested in being the representative to the Sussex County Ed Services Commission. We need, I'm not exactly sure how this whole thing works, which is kind of interesting since I've been going to this for 3 years. You go to a meeting once a month, it's the first Monday of the month, and they have to take action on their business. They are a school and a service industry. So they run a small school for about 30 to 40 special ed kids, and then they have a principal there, they've got teachers and aides, they've got a regular special ed school going on. And of course, they need to take action on different items, so you have to be there to vote for that. They also provide services to every school in the county that wants to not hire their own speech therapist or learning disabilities consultant or whatever social worker, and then they can go to Ed Services Commission and say, we need to have a speech therapist at our school 1 day a week for 4 hours. And then Ed Services hires that person and sends them to that school. Ed Services may take that same person and send them to another school for another time, but Ed Services is kind of like the broker, and they have to take action on that. Their agendas are mostly personnel, of people being hired and people leaving, because people leave to get a better job, so it's kind of a stepping stone to get into education. I just don't want to do it anymore. I don't even have a good explanation for that. I do a lot of other things on this board, and I don't want to do that anymore. And if somebody says they'll do it, but you never go, you hurt them because you need to have a quorum. Like, I have pretty good attendance. I don't want to say my attendance was like right there in the 97. It was good. But I'm like, oh, I can't keep doing this. So, if we don't want to do it, Scott, Jim, if we don't want to do it, we have to contact them, and then they get to pick another school that they can ask to be delegates.
So their board consists of schools from,
15 schools represent the schools of Sussex County. They have 15
And 15
schools,
members.
15 members. And right now, High Point is one of those members. We don't have to be, I'm not sure how to get out of it, but there are other schools that don't send anybody. And there are schools that have a delegate spot and the person never shows up, so.
you don't have to have somebody on the board there to take advantage of their services.
Nope. Nope. You get no special privileges, no,
When are the meetings?
the
And where?
first Monday of the month,
What time of the day?
7 o'clock,
The morning or evening?
at evening, 7 o'clock in the evening.
Where are they usually held?
At the school that's over there.
Northern
at
Hills?
Northern Hills, which is over by Rural Lighting in that industrial complex over there, Wilson Drive, yeah.
What we can do is table this
I just
until we
wanted
get
to-
more
okay.
information.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you can give, I just want to give context
Okay.
that it's not necessary right now to do this. We can table this particular item and provide the board with more information.
And again,
My next question was gonna be, did you believe it behooved the board to have somebody there? Actually, I was gonna ask
it-
Mr. Ripley that. We can table it though.
I
think we
will
should discuss it and then.
phrase it in this following manner. We have not, or let me put it differently. My office has not done business with them, nor do I anticipate my office doing business with them in the future.
And they do provide some services that we can, and I think in some cases they run some workshops.
Yeah, they do
And
some
they
trainings
do
for,
training workshops for the paraprofessionals, the professional
Yes.
needs. It's all special ed related. They have it available for child study team members, and when it runs, they send out notifications to all the districts in the entire county. This is what we're doing for training, this is when it is, send your people if they want to register. So we don't achieve any higher level of service by being on the board. It's just that the law says they have to have a board of directors, and it has to be made up of at least, in our county, 15 schools, and to be a no-show member hurts that commission. They can't, if they don't have a quorum, they can't do business, and they have a lot of business to do. The meetings don't take that long, I have to say, they don't take that long.
If we vote to table it, would this fall back into a committee, and which committee, if that's the case?
I think the only reason I would table it is if we're discussing the fact that we don't want to participate any longer. And I discussed this with Debbie last month, that really, we've gotten to the point of where, someone's sat on there for how long, and, Debbie doesn't want to do it anymore. And if anyone doesn't want to do it, I would be reluctant to take somebody.
Right, because if you just put your name on it and then you don't really have the time or inclination to go, it hurts them. I think by tabling this, then Kyle gets a chance to hear if anybody's interested in being on this, have another conversation, or you can ask me.
Well, placing somebody in that position doesn't mean that we can't discuss still in the future eliminating it. If maybe we're up front with whoever decides they would want to take it on a temporary basis.
Well, I did send an email to the superintendent 2 weeks ago, explaining that I would no longer be the delegate, that I wasn't sure that we would be able to fill the seat, and could she please let us know what our responsibilities are? But I haven't heard of her. So, I'm not sure how we get out of it. I mean, they can't force you to be a member, but I'm trying to be positive with them and allow them to have a functioning board of directors.
I mean, we're rather busy here. I just don't see.
That was my fault.
Filling a seat. I mean, unless somebody feels the goodness in their heart.
Nobody? So I guess we'll table this and, or maybe move
If somebody decides it, I don't know.
Well, we have until, we can go to the next meeting where we conduct business. in
Okay, and
January,
then we'll know by then if anybody's
We'll know what we have
interested.
to do to get out of
We
it,
do have
or,
it scheduled for the vote on number 11, January 17th, which is 2 weeks.
all right, so then that's what we'll do. So we'll table 10. We're at
Nine.
Let's do 5 through 8.
Nine.
Nine, yes. So, all right, I need a motion on 5 through 8.
Motion.
Second. Roll call?
Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Rainbird?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Bewley?
Yes. All right, I need a motion to table number 9.
Motion. Second.
Is that all in favor, or you want?
You can all favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, all right, number 9 is tabled. We can do all of these now, because this is just straight up. Oh, you know what, let's do number 10. Let's talk about that first. Number 10, recommended the board declare its committee structure as follows, as listed, the motion.
Second?
Is that all in favor, too? Can we do that?
Want to discuss it first?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I want to discuss it. Yeah, right. So I know that I've talked to a lot of you about that. We put buildings and grounds into finance and insurance. And we're gonna leave this as it is for now for tonight, because in order to change it, pull it back out, we have to change the bylaw. But I've been, over the past, I don't know, what, 2-3 months, we've been talking about taking buildings and grounds out. We don't have a committee where we discuss athletics. So usually it gets thrown into buildings and grounds, or we bring it up in curriculum. Yeah, last month I brought something up in curriculum, because it really doesn't, you don't know where it falls. So if we pull buildings and grounds out, put athletics into it, and I was talking to someone else today, would it behoove us to put that into transportation? Because we have a good, 20, 25 minutes worth of discussion of transportation, a good 20 or so minutes with buildings and grounds. Athletics, if anything comes up, we can discuss it now.
Does that make sense to do a buildings and grounds transportation combo?
I think it does, because transportation generally doesn't take all that long.
Right.
Like Kyle says, max 20, 25 minutes. If you throw athletics in there, some of the discussion could obviously be around transportation and athletics.
It usually is.
So I think it makes sense if everyone else agrees. I would tend to agree.
Because I was gonna ask you if we were gonna pull buildings and grounds out to chair that because of your background.
Yeah.
But you're already chairing transportation, so that's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Now, and Charlie, you had a great idea about if we pull it out, not combine the two of them, leave them as separate committees, or run them at the same time frame, with the same people, that leaves us able to swap, move, dip, dive, duck, and dodge if we have to.
Yeah,
I really like that idea.
yeah.
So if
You
that's
still have to
something.
pull buildings and grounds out of
Out of
finance and
finance.
insurance, and then just have that meet at the same time as transportation.
Right, with the same person.
Yeah. Do you have to say that athletics
I
is a
think we
committee
have
for
to change the
that?
bylaw to add athletics, wouldn't we, Jim?
If it's in the bylaws, split this way, absolutely.
It is in the bylaws.
So if we put athletics in with buildings and grounds.
What we would do is just amend the bylaws 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
And then we could vote on that, and then, just change the bylaws, that would be the vote.
Okay. And then it gives me time to talk to everybody, to see what committee everybody
Does it
wants.
have to go through a first reading, change the bylaw?
No, it's just, bylaw is just a change, yeah.
I think that because it's in with the policies, and I might be making this up, because sometimes I do. But because the bylaws is in with the policy, and if it's a standing policy that you just amend, it just needs one reading. If it's a new policy, you need 2 readings. So if it comes up next at the January 17th meeting as amended, and you'll have gotten to see it because it'll be in our packet, we can talk about it and vote on it, and then it's in.
And then the other thing here is there's an ad hoc committee that's under regionalization, okay? Which we've met twice since I've been here. What if, because we do have shared services that we're involved in now, take that ad hoc committee out for regionalization and instead make that shared services? That way, this board has a committee that can meet with other boards in other districts if need be regarding shared services. At least we have a face other than just me or Debbie or, we'll have a committee that can sit and talk about it. All right? So that's not on here though. The ad hocs aren't on the official committee list, right? Okay.
We can just establish that, we don't need to, that's not in the bylaws. It says that in the bylaws, I think that we could just add, we can have an ad hoc committee for the time we need it, and then remove it when it's finished.
I could possibly pull the bylaw right now. Might take me a second.
So that,
How about this, board committees? Don't ask me why I have that, an ad hoc committee.
Jim, you want to look at it, Dr. Ripley?
I
Who
don't
needs a
know.
phone when you got Debbie?
Yeah. Yep.
Let me just ask, that is not funny.
Oh, I just have to find out. What else we got?
I know, I'm a little afraid to pick that out.
What is the purpose? Is this necessary?
Can't, we're.
Public relations isn't a committee, that's.
I think it's in our, I think it's.
But it's
in our-
obviously in the bylaw,
Standing committees.
then that should be on here then. It was last year.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, it is.
It's under
Oh, on
curriculum.
the bottom, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That was when we were making the,
An ad hoc committee may be created and charged at any time by the president or a majority of board members present and voting.
What, now negotiations, that's on here too, all right, I just want to make sure. we didn't
because
miss it.
this is right. This
Okay.
agenda item has exactly what's in our bylaws.
Okay. All right, so we're taking out, well, we're gonna approve this tonight, and then at the next regular meeting,
We'll make the
swap it
change.
out.
Motion as is, right?
Yeah, motion is as is, all right?
Yes.
So we're in discussion, now we can vote on as is, right?
Any other discussion?
Do you have any other
No.
discussion, anybody?
Give me back my paper.
Yeah, hold on to that. Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Ancliffe,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Rowland,
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe,
Yes.
Mr. Mealy.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll do 11 through 28, since we're just reading. Group these all together.
11 through 28.
Yeah, 11 through 28. Number 11, whereas Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, requires certain public bodies to comply with the provisions of Section 1 of said act. This is a listing of our regular meetings as listed. It is now therefore resolved that the board schedules regular monthly meetings on the third Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. unless otherwise noted in the High Point Regional Board of Education meeting room for exec session, and continue at 7 p.m. in the cafeteria annex at this address. Number 12, recommended that the board approve the Code of Ethics for School Board, Robert's Rules of Order, and parliamentary procedures for all meetings as follows. Within that, as listed, school ethics. Number 13, recommended that the board appoint the firm of Bush Law Group LLC as our attorney effective January 1 through December 31st of 2017. Number 14, recommended that the board designate the New Jersey Herald and the Star Ledger as our official newspapers. 15, recommended that the board designate Sussex Bank, Lakeland Bank, U.S. Bank, and New Jersey Cash Management Fund as the official depositories. 16, recommended that the board approve the principal's petty cash fund for $500 and the superintendent's petty cash fund for $150. Individual warrants eligible for reimbursement may not exceed $75 per receipt, and sales tax will not be approved for reimbursement. Number 17, recommended that the board approve the fee schedule for code photocopies as follows, as listed. 18, recommended that the board approve a $3 transcript fee for alumni request. 19, recommended that the board approve the following list of board accounts and their signatories, as listed on all that. Number 20, recommended that the board authorize the school business administrator, board secretary as the custodian of board education records for Oprah, chief financial officer and investment officer with approved depository, the public agency compliance officer and purchasing compliance, qualified purchasing agent, quote threshold 6,000, transportation contract threshold 18.8. All other bids are 40,000. Maintain appropriate bonding as required by state statute. Make telephone, wire, and electronic transactions with board funds. Invest board funds at the most advantageous rate in compliance with all state laws and regs. 21. Recommended that the board authorize the school business administrator, board secretary, in consultation agreement with the superintendent to proceed, process line item transfers in compliance with required approvals per S1701 and A3680 between board meetings through June 30th of 2017. Please make sure that that's. Thank you, Mr. Dunn, for bringing that up. Number 22, recommended that the board approve the bylaws, policies, and regulations printed and codified in the comprehensive document entitled Bylaws and Policies of the High Point Regional High School Board of Education. 23, recommended that the board recognize the following bargaining units and contractual agreements: the High Point Education Association and the High Point Administrators Association. Number 24, recommended that the board authorize the board president or designee to act as board secretary when appropriate. Number 25, recommended that the board authorize the use of a signature stamp for the board president, treasurer, and board secretary. 26, recommended that the board approve the appropriate bonding of the school business administrator, $290,000, and the treasurer of school monies, $290,000, as required by statute. 27, recommended that the board approve the following resolution for School Alliance Fund Commissioner effective January 1 through December 31st of 2017. Whereas the High Point Regional High School Board of Education is hereafter referred to as the educational facility as a member of the School Alliance Insurance Fund, and whereas the School Alliance Insurance Fund requires a fund commissioner to be appointed for each educational facility, be a result of the High Point Regional High School Board of Education appointing the Business Administrative Board Secretary as the fund commissioner. Be a further resolve that the educational facilities fund commissioner is authorized and directed to execute such documents as required by the fund's bylaws. Number 28, recommended that the board approve the following resolution authorizing contracts with approved state contract vendors for boards of education pursuant to NJSA 18A, 18A through 10A, effective January 1st, 2017 to December 31st, 2017, which is our school year, as follows. Need a motion.
Second.
Any discussion on all of that stuff? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Ancliffe?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes.
Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Bealey?
Yes. Okay, public comments. Again, on agenda?
Shouldn't say,
It shouldn't say
shouldn't
that.
say agenda, should say on anything.
How about just public comment? Nick, Bree, you got anything? No?
Very good.
We
Sure.
does it every year. Let's go.
Yeah.
Other
Thanks.
business? Ms. Anderson? Are you good?
I'm good.
You're good, reorg? All right.